Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to Unstoppable Acting Studio. We are just away to talk to Mr. Luke Jenkins from Role Film Showreels. Hi, Jared. Nice to see you. Nice of you to join. And we'll be talking with Luke in just a little second, all about what an actor should expect from their showreel experience, what they should be looking to add to their showreels. And also, Luke's going to give us a bit of an insight as to how he started his own showreel business as well. So, you know me, I do love an acting side hustle. And Luke's going to give us a bit of an insight into how he managed to add a showreel business to his acting side hustle. Hi, Jared. Hi, Yasmin. Nice to see you guys. We'll be chatting with Luke just in a little second. Just waiting for him to join us on our live just now. And you know what, like, sometimes Instagram Live technical difficulties, they happen from time to time. So we'll see. Hopefully Luke comes along. Hello, and nice of you to join us again. I hope I'm saying your name right, Elmada. But you join us for Two Guys Talking Craft with me and Jared. So very excited for you to join us. Thank you everybody for joining us and coming along to join our chat about showreels. It is something that I've received quite a lot of messages about recently, about how actors should approach putting together a showreel. I think it's something that a lot of people are interested in right now. Maybe they're making the shift from the sort of lockdown quarantine. Elma, okay, thank you, Elma. The quarantine situation. They're starting to look at putting themselves back out into the industry a little bit. So, yeah, people have been asking, how do I approach headshots? How do I approach my showreel? So, Luke is going to be here in just a little minute to tell us all about that. I'm just going to see if I can get Luke on my WhatsApp right now. Apologies, people. I'll tell you what, we'll be jumping right back in. If you stay with us, we'll jump right back into the live. I'm just going to help Luke out a little bit here. I think he's a little bit lost in the world of Instagram. Oh, here he is. Here he is. He's joined us. Here we go. Joining us right about any second. Here he is. Here he goes.
Hello. Sorry.
Hello, Luke. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. Am I horizontal or vertical?
Yeah, I did exactly the same thing first ever time I Instagram lived. Yeah, so you just got to tilt yourself up to the other side there, because right now people will think you're sideways. Great, fantastic.
Sorry,
well, thanks so much for joining us, Luke. Welcome to Unstoppable Acting Studio. I've given these guys a little bit of a preamble as to the kind of things we're talking about today. Talking a bit about a guide for actors as to how they can approach their showreels. And also you're going to be sharing a little bit as to how you started your own showreel business as well, and how that came about and how you found that over the past little while. But first things first, I better introduce you, Luke, to everybody. So Luke and I, we're actually really good friends. We've known each other for quite some time, probably about 12 years now, and we went to drama school together. Yeah, but that's besides the point. Luke is a very talented actor in his own right. He has appeared in many things over the years, notably a UK tour of The Mousetrap. Recently, he was in Abigail's Party, the famous sort of Mike Leigh film, which has turned into a play. He was in the tour of that as well. And if I'm right in saying, Luke, you've had 8 years of experience in creating showreels, making showreels. His company, Role Film Reels, was voted one of the 7 best showreel companies in the UK by Backstage.com. And yeah, we're really excited to have you, Luke, as part of the Unstoppable Acting Studio today, chatting all about acting stuff. Did that kind of cover some bits and bobs about you, Luke?
You missed the bit when we used to be married.
And Luke and I used to be married. There we go. As well.
Yeah. No, you pretty much covered it. That's pretty much everything. Yeah.
Lovely. So Luke, I like to sort of add as much value to people as I can out there, and I've had quite a few people asking me specifically about showreels recently. I think I was just saying before you joined us there, I think people are starting to make the transition in their heads from being in this lockdown situation, this quarantine situation, starting to think how they can put themselves out to the industry once again. And yeah, showreels has been something that people have been asking about. Like, how do I approach like putting together my showreel, like what should I be looking for from the showreel experience and stuff. So I thought we'd just dive into chatting about some bits and bobs like that because you're a man of a wealth of experience when it comes to that. So I guess first of all, Luke, for people that have maybe never filmed a showreel ever before in their lives, what can they expect from that experience? Like, what does an average day sort of look like to show up to film their showreel if they were, I don't know, for instance, working with you yourself?
Well, I think, I mean, we really sort of, well, I really kind of sort of create an environment where it's quite relaxed. It's a case of all the work's been done before, but you arrive on set, you have plenty of time. We turn up on location and meet wherever we're shooting. And then really, sort of structurally, the way the day goes is we'll meet at whatever time, and then we'll have a rehearsal time between half an hour to an hour and block the scene and talk about some choices and talk about things that the actors want to achieve in the scene, where the scene goes and the arc and the character and everything. And then from there, it's kind of, technically, I kind of approach it. I start from wide, so I'll start from some wide shots. So I'll just do a kind of, just for geographical reasons, we'll just do a wide angle of the whole scene in its entirety. So that shot would kind of cover crosses or changes in blocking, or or to set the scene or to set the environment or whatever. And then we just work in and in. So then we'll go into over the shoulder of each actor there in a kind of sort of medium close-up. And then we'll go into close-ups. And then from there, I usually sort of try out different funky shots just to give it to generate a bit of energy and a bit of pace when it comes to editing. Sometimes if it's an intense scene, I don't know, this is kind of sort of stuff, but I really enjoy, like, if it's an intense scene, I'll try and get a sort of side profile shot, of the actor, and you can see the eyes looking into the other actor. And that's pretty much it, really. But I really try and encourage the point that, we have 3 hours to shoot each scene. If you're doing a 3-scene showreel day, then obviously we have to stay quite strict to the amount of time. But the 3 hours is really to allow time to explore, to not feel hurried, to just sort of work through it. There's room for an actor doing a take and then saying, do you know what, that was rubbish, can I do that again, or can I try it a little more like this? So that sort of covers the day, really. And then from there we'll do, and then after that, really, it'll be pickup shots. So it'll be close-ups of a hand and a phone, or picking up a glass, or those little bits that you cut to close up, and but that's really it in terms of the day. But it really is a day where the actor, even though I'm kind of sort of facilitating it and guiding the whole day and directing the thing and seeing how it looks, you got a bit dark there, hold on, there you go. It's more a case of we're working together. It's not really a case of me standing there with a megaphone saying do it again. So we'll sort of, the actor kind of has as much leverage as I do to say, do you know what I don't like, can we try that, or can we do this, or we can yeah. And I try and I make the point after each kind of scene, after shoot, saying, you sure you've done everything? Is there anything else you want to try out? Is there anything you want to do again? Or it's I never want an actor to leave the day thinking, oh God, I really should have done, oh, was that bit a bit rubbish, or why did I pull that face when I did that speech? And so yeah, really, that's kind of sort of generically how the day looks for the actor. But yeah,
Great. And beforehand, that's thank you very much. Beforehand, how much what's the process before approaching that? Before approaching the day of filming, if somebody wants to get their showreel sort of recorded, like you're saying, yeah, there's quite a lot of autonomy, quite a lot of control on behalf of the actor to get what they want from it. Like, what's the sort of, what goes on before that, before the filming day?
Well, depending on what the actor wants, if they want something completely shot from scratch, and they want a script, say, written for them, we've got a writing service as well. We write most of the scenes. On occasion, you've written for them as well, which they've always been great as well. And someone I've worked very closely with before, someone, he writes them, and a few other people write them, or I write them. And if it's something you know, if an actor comes along and says they just want something completely kind of tailor made to what their strengths are as a performer and whatever suits their kind of casting type, if they want something written, I'll send out a questionnaire. So I'll say on the questionnaire, there's questions like, you know, generic questions like, what type of character do you want to play? What genre, or what example of a TV show that's been out so far that you can draw inspiration from? Or if there is a kind of sort of structure of a scene. So, you know, it starts off here, then we get in a fight, and then we make up. Is that the arc of the scene? And from there, as much information as the actor can give us, we'll sort of nail what it is they're looking for and deliver it in a script. But on occasion, some actors, you know, will come along and say, you know, I kind of want to do that, or I kind of want to do that. That's also fine. We'll sort of discuss and get, you know, if it is a little, if an actor's sort of approaching this with a kind of, I'm just not sure. I know what I kind of want to do, but I don't know how to describe it. You know, we'll reach out, we'll make a phone call, or we'll email a little bit more and really sort of, you know, sort of hone down those ideas to what it is they're looking for. And then that's it. Then we'll write up the script. They'll get that back within a week, script or scripts, however many they want. And when they get it back, they can take a look, and then they have the opportunity to say, oh, do you know, can I change that line? Or can I have a bit where I say a bit more here? Or, you know, and then we make those tweaks, and then it's ready for them to learn and get ready for the shoot. But in terms of like location, actors, so in terms of location, we can absolutely come to the actors wherever an actor might say, oh, this is set in the front room, you can come to my house and we'll film it. Or they'll say, can you find something for me, which is also fine. Obviously, because of COVID at the moment, things have slightly altered because we can't, I mean, we used to have a location where actors would come along and do, you know, a scene set in a kitchen or a bedroom or a bathroom or anything. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we can't do that for safety reasons because there isn't enough room to sort of social distance. But we can obviously come to other actors. But if it's a case that the scene is set, say, in a bar or a pub or anything like that, then we can source those locations. And depending on hiring rates, that would just be something the actor can, you know, will sort of, it will be an additional fee for them if they want those locations. It's fine. There's also an office space we use if an actor's looking to do a scene that's set in an office. We've got a good location in Liverpool Street where I think it's £15 an hour or something. So we usually go there. So yeah, that's kind of sort of location wise. Or if it's set in a park or a quiet street or anything like that, then that's very easily done. You know, we can just sort of go outside and it's easy to keep distance. Again, the actors may have in mind who they can bring. In terms of actors, they might say, oh, my friend will be really good in that part, I'll ask him to come along for the day. Or if they are a bit stumped for an actor, or they're a bit kind of, you know, they can't find anyone that's quite suitable to that part, then they can ask me, and I've got a catalogue of actors and an Argos catalogue. But I've got like actors I've used and worked with before that have been really good and lovely to work with. And they agree to it. They'll give me my details and they'll be on my kind of records to contact if they need to be used. And I think that the rate is, I think it's £30 the actor would pay to the actor I'm finding. Do you know what I mean? So it's just £30 for their troubles. They're paid directly to them. So that's kind of that in terms of the writing service, location, actors. So yeah, I mean, it's a kind of sort of 50-50 thing. It's like, we can come to you, you can come to us, I can sort that out, you can sort that out.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
So there's no like limits. Oh, hi, Thomas. Thomas has joined us. Hi. There's no limits to, I guess, the actor's imagination, right? What they want to get from like a showreel company like yourselves will find a way within reason, right, to make that happen, right? I remember you telling me once, like, there was somebody. I think I maybe helped out. So somebody set something in like a nuclear bunker or something, and you kind of managed to find a bit of a nuclear bunker or whatever. So like, it is that. You don't have to be limited to just sort of generic scenes in a cafe or a bar if you don't want to. And equally, you can feel comfortable enough, and you might get a lot from it if you work with actors you already know about. You could source them, ask them to come along and help you out in your show reel. Or equally, it is always an option to bring other people in. I think that's really, really useful. So you've filmed lots of these show reels over the years now. Probably, I don't know, like over 100, would you say, Luke? Is that fair to say, or roughly?
Yeah,
Getting
over
there?
100.
Yeah. So, wow. So in that time,
No, I don't know. Over 100.
over 100. In that time, I mean, working with loads of different actors, with I guess loads of different things that they want to get from their own individual specific show reels. Is there any sort of pitfalls, anything that you notice the actors have done that maybe does them a disservice sort of from the show experience? You mentioned it was a very quick day if you're working with a company doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fit everything in within a short space of time. And obviously, the discussions and stuff and how you're planning a scene and that only happens so long. So, yeah, I was just wondering if there was anything that might do people a disservice. For instance, this was what I was thinking of. If somebody really likes an actor, they really admire a certain specific actor, and they really want to emulate or replicate or imitate that actor they really like within their show reel. I don't know if you ever had experience of anybody wanting to do that, but from your experience, do you think that would be a positive choice, a negative choice? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest thing I'd say that would do some of the actors more credit than I mean, it sounds obvious, but just be as prepped as possible before the shoot and really kind of understand what your casting is and what it is you're looking for. I mean, in a weird way, like usually, the director or the company would hire the actor to do the job, but it's in retrospect, they've hired me to do the job for the day. So in a way, the actor really needs to have a solid idea of what their character type is, where they fall casting wise, and what sort of genre is there, do they really kind of sort of fall into? What is their agent sort of selling them as? But I think in terms of, I don't know, it's 50-50 really, isn't it? I mean, I suppose I think it depends on whatever the character is and whatever the performance is. I think it's definitely unwise to do an impression of someone else whilst doing the scene. But if you're drawing inspiration from an actor or an icon that would work for the character, then maybe that would work. But I think in terms of, you don't want to stretch too far, I think, with your character in a showreel. It needs to be something that absolutely shows you in your casting at your kind of sort of grassroots, I think. I mean, definitely there's room for range there with the different scenes. There's different scopes for different, you could have a light comedy piece, then you could have a intense drama, and then you could have, I don't know, a kind of sort of light-hearted kind of, I don't know, period piece or whatever. But so there's scope to show what you can do in different genres and different avenues. But I think, especially when you're starting out as an actor, you don't want to jump too far from what you are, from what you look and sound as, and what kind of, because I think if you're wanting to get a show reel done because you're looking for an agent and you want to promote yourself to agencies, then you want to give them something where they put on the first sort of 10 seconds, they go, yep, get the point, know exactly who that is, and I know what I could put them up for. So yeah, I think it's before sort of approaching, I think you need to arrive a process like this with an element of, I know exactly what my character type is. I know exactly what my agent's trying to sell me as. Get a good dialogue with your agent and ask them their advice on what they think. Colleagues or friends you work with or other actors. And then sort of arrive to me with a solid idea of, I'm this, I want this, and I need a scene like this. Again, it's not the be all and end all if you don't know that fully, but I'd say arrive with some understanding of what you can do and what you are and what, where you fall into. It's not, especially in the early parts of your career, you don't want to go full kind of Alec Guinness or Johnny Depp, and complete. You want to have something that's completely like, I can see exactly what you're doing, and that's really,
it's maybe not the best facility or springboard for full-on character acting sort of thing.
Yeah,
you're
exactly,
saying it's maybe being close at home. As long as it comes from a genuine, truthful place, then that sort of does shine through, and you can have, as you say, your different genres that you're displaying, possibly, right? But it's all got to come from a place of truth, and I love that. You can't stretch too far, because people just want to know what they're getting at the end of the day. And I think
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? These showreels, they have a purpose, right? They either are being shown to casting agents to help you get up for auditions and get cast and things, or you're putting it for agents so they sign you up so you can then get the
yeah,
auditions.
yeah,
So they are a little bit of a calling card, aren't they? That you instantly, you have very little time, right? That's why these things are short, to just
yeah,
boom, show what you can do, right? And
yeah.
how much on average, the showreels that you've worked on in the past, how many scenes are they roughly displaying on average, like within that showreel sort of time?
Well, I mean, it depends really. It really does depend. It feels like the sort of two-scener package people generally go for, um, or or the three-scener if someone's completely starting out as an actor or just left drama school and just has no TV or film experience, then that's obviously going to show a little more range than just two scenes. It depends on where where they are with their career. If they've got some existing footage already and they just want an additional scene to go at the front that's really up to date and shows something they haven't done before, then it will be one. But predominantly it's two scenes. I think that's the kind of sort of that seems to be the popular one for some reason because it's you know
Because I think sometimes people feel pressure to go over that, right? But quite often two scenes can just be very, very effective, right? It shows what you can
yeah,
do. It just shows a slightly different color of your character, and
yeah,
in two scenes, like you can show it. It's enough, isn't it? Because
yeah,
people aren't going to spend all day watching it, right? I guess that's the
yeah.
thing. Like the showreel is always a much more important personal thing to you than it is to anybody else you're sending it out there. Essentially, the people that will be receiving it and watching it, they have a couple of minutes of their day to watch it before they watch the next one and the next one, right?
Yeah.
And they want things snappy. So no, I think that's really helpful to know as well, because I think maybe sometimes people possibly overthink that, and it's really refreshing and nice to hear you say, kind of keep it simple, keep it close to you,
Yeah.
and don't overthink it and things. Do you have any? Because obviously you guys as a showreel company offer a writing service. Do you have any sort of go-to places as well where, I don't know, maybe people can find scripts or find sort of TV and film scripts that sort of suit them already? Is there any places like that you know of that people have looked up before? Or
Do you know what? I don't, and it's something we need to look into. I had an actor that emailed me last night actually saying, "Do you know of any sort of TV or film scripts I can draw from or anything?" And I mean, we really, I mean, something we'll look into. Well, I'll look into doing, but predominantly we sort of write them. The
yeah,
trouble is, like, if we've written a scene for someone specifically and they've paid for it, we can't recycle them and give them to another actor. That's the only, obviously, for
mm-hmm.
obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess it's anything you're watching at the moment, or anything you feel like that would be easily transferred into your character or your acting character type. But no, that's a good point. Actually, that's something I could look into. Maybe
Yeah,
some suggestions of websites like where they could
mm-hmm.
sort of draw from and get some famous scenes. Not
But I think
famous.
that's really lovely as well. It's just watch things, right? And if it's something
Yeah,
that's consistent that all of us have experienced right now at this time in the world, is we've had a lot more time on our hands to
yeah.
watch things. Thomas Pickles says BBC Writers Room has lots of scripts. Thank
BBC
you,
Writers Room.
Thomas.
Yeah, maybe
It is
use that.
very good. Yeah, there are lots on there, lots and
Is that
lots. Thanks,
is that a
Thomas.
free? So Pickles, is that a free thing that people can just go on and just download? He'll reply.
Yeah,
I've never
I
done it.
think it's a collection of scripts, yeah, like that you can have a look through on there, and I think it's like from recent scripts to back in the 80s. It's right through.
Well, we
Great.
had.
So,
Sorry, Adam.
oh, sorry, on you go, Luke. Yeah.
No, well, we had an actor that came a couple of years ago. Actually, throughout the whole time I've been doing, people arrive with monologues from plays, or duologues from plays as well. It doesn't have to be strictly, as long as it transfers into a film thing and it doesn't allow, it can easily sort of translate into a film instead of a staged piece. In fact, speaking of Mike Leigh, we had someone come and do a Mike Leigh script. I think it was from what's that one? I can't remember what it's called. Ordinary People? No, Normal People. No, not Normal People. Anyway, one of I can't remember, but it was a really nice scene between two sisters. But instead of, I think in the film it was set in a bedroom and they were siblings, but because of the dialogue and because of this particular piece they picked, they could easily change it into be them walking in a park and they're just best friends, you know, and they've got this kind of comedy duo where someone's the straight one and someone's the goofy one. So there is, I think it just depends on what resonates. And as long as there's enough substance to play with and it's not just, I'd say be careful of picking some duologues and really sort of, sorry, I'm just going to pull that down because I can't see you.
No, don't worry.
There we go. I think it's a case of, yeah, really sort of thinking with duologues. You don't, not to sound too selfish, but you know, this is your show. You don't want to draw focus, you know, really. I mean, the other actor being there, as sort of talented and lovely as they are, in a way, they have to be there to sort of feed you the next lines and everything. Obviously, you're doing a scene, you're acting and responding with each other, but you're the one that's driving the scene and you're the one that has the meaty, kind of sort of substantial bits to get your teeth stuck into.
That's a top tip, guys, just to sort of highlight that one. So Luke's saying there that when you're picking your scripts, your scenes for your show reel, make sure that it highlights you in the best way possible. That other actor is there to support you, absolutely, and of course you'll be engaged with them and as Luke's saying, listen, responding and acting with them, but it should showcase and highlight you, which must be a challenge, right, to find scripts like this. I mean, possibly it maybe is best to get stuff written specifically for you with a sort of idea of a character you've got in mind in terms of that, because those are few and far between, really, aren't there, scripts that have that. It's usually quite even. You know? Yeah. Well, it's a very good point that people maybe don't think about, right? They maybe just come in with, I love this scene, but if it doesn't show them in the right light in a quick way, it's no point in the show reel world, right?
It needs to start and it needs to be kind of, bang, I'm looking at that person, instead of sort of working away through the scene and then it's your moment. We need something that's just like, right, that's who I'm focused on in this scene. That's, you know,
and this isn't just your own feedback, right? This is feedback from like agents and casting directors and stuff from I guess people you've worked with over 8 years in the past, right? When you were at that sort of start of your journey. Possibly, did you ever get any feedback from agents and things like that where it was like, oh, it's a little bit two-sided here and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've got quite a good relationship with a few agencies, and now it's kind of, we built a kind of sort of working rapport now where it's, you know, you can almost predict, you know, what, you know, not saying that every actor they come along, they want the same old scene, but that you can almost predict when they say something like, oh, a bit like that, you know, he's a bit like that, you know, we know exactly what we're sort of dealing with. Not really. I mean, I think it's important for an actor to have a good open dialogue with your agent, because at the end of the day, if you're doing it and you already have an agent, your agent is the one that's your kind of salesperson. They're selling you as a product, as an actor. So, you know, if you get a show reel done and you haven't spoken to your agent, and then you do like a performance from a Christopher Lee film dressed up as Dracula, and then you get it done and you're like, great, that looked really good, and then you send it on to the agent and they're like, what are you doing? That's not what we're, you know, I wanted you to, you know, be the guy next door, like, why are you? So I mean,
auditions for Dracula right now.
Yeah, we get so many Draculas, it's incredible. So yeah, I think sort of, especially discussing with your agent, you know, it's like getting headshots, like sort of, I'm thinking of getting a headshot, I'm thinking of getting a show reel done. What things are you putting me up for at the moment? What sort of places are you targeting? What am I lacking already from my existing show reel, or what do you want to see me do more of? You know, and also agencies do change. Like with different agents I've been with over the years, one agent will sort of pitch me and sell me in a way that my next agent wouldn't. You know, they really want to push it in another direction. So yeah, it's good to have that kind of sort of that guideline from your agent to sort of say, we need this is happening at the moment, this is, you know, a young dad, or, you know, or a teacher, or a policeman, or, you know. So I think that's a good place to start as well, especially if you're struggling with really knowing what your casting type is and where you fall into.
Oh, great. No, it's fantastic. So I mean, it goes without saying, guys, I think I mentioned this at the start, but please be asking questions as well. This is, you know, for everybody that's joining us today, to get as much as we can from Luke, who's been very generous with his time. But if there are any questions about sort of actors, how they should be approaching showreels, please drop them in our comments here. But Luke, what we might dive into, this the second half of the chat right now, is just talking a little bit about your experience of starting a company, you know, and starting your very own sort of showreel business. So just to give you a bit of context to this, it's something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I talk quite a lot about. Is I have this saying, right? Like it's better to be a person who's occasionally an actor than an actor who's occasionally a person. And I find that sometimes we get so sucked into being all consumed about wanting to get all we can from our acting careers that we kind of forget to look after ourselves a little bit. You know, that the
Yes.
balance of our personal lives maybe goes out of kilter a little bit, right? So I always think one of the pillars, like, of course, your health, your well-being, one of the pillars is to sort yourself out a little bit financially as well, because statistically, actors, we're unemployed, right?
Yeah.
The 90% of actors are unemployed at any given time. If you start doing the stats of the actors that are in the UK alone right now, thousands out there, right? You're going to have these times, no matter how talented you are, no matter how good an actor you are, you're going to have these times where you're not working. Yeah. And I'm always really interested to see the people that are in this for the long term. And you've been in this now for almost 12, 13 years or something. Yeah. They've managed to stay and maintain themselves in the industry, what they do in those in-between times. And I think you've found something here that has real longevity for you that can hopefully allow you to supplement those times where you're not an acting work in between, but also something you really, really love, right? It's not something that is soul destroying, that you hate, that you're working with actors. As long as I've known you, you've always loved film and things like that. Like that, perhaps you found something here. So I guess that was my little preamble as to your acting side hustle, as it were. But yeah, tell us a bit about that. So where did it all come from? The inspiration to start your own showreel stuff? Was it right away something that you wanted to do full time, or was it something you just sort of organically grew over the years, or how did it work? Oh, I think Luke is pending right now. He's back.
Anyway, I'm back. Have you got me?
There he is.
There we are.
And so,
Yeah. Well.
yeah.
So yeah. Well. It took me a while to sort of get my to sort of get a bit more determined and focused on what it is I'm going to do to survive, because I'm not gonna lie, like, I mean, much like most actors leaving drama school, I don't know whether some are a little more realistic than others, but you know, me and my friend, I think we joke as well, like our group of friends, like there's this kind of naivety when you leave drama school. You're like, okay, right, done, I'll go off and be an actor now. But and then it takes a while for that realization to set in and go, oh, actually, well, this is going to probably take a lot of time. So, but it took me a while to sort of think that. I mean, I always knew how passionate I was about films. My passion for films is what led me to want to be an actor. So I always knew I wanted to do something in terms of, I've always sort of flirted with the idea of wanting to be a director. Like before I went to drama school, I was thinking, well, do I go to film school or do I go to acting school? And I chose acting school. So those kinds of things have been 50-50. So I already had that kind of passion there alongside what I was already doing. So I think after graduating, after drama school, it took me a while to, you know, actually, no, it didn't take a while at all. It hit me like a bus when I left. when I left drama school, and I lived in London for the first time and worked. You know, I was like, oh my god, like, this is really hard. But obviously, you carry on working and everything. But then I think, I mean, we were living with each other around the same time, and
Yeah.
I sort of discussed the idea, and you were like, we're supportive, and we sort of did similar things. It took a lot of time, but it wasn't until I went on tour for a long time, so I got lucky. After a while of leaving drama school, I got a tour and I went away for a while, so I had some time to sort of, you know, go around the country and act and things. But I knew when I came back, I was like, after talking to older actors, their experience was actually, a really good friend and a really good actor said to me, he said, you need to sort of shift this mentality of like, I will be happy when I get my acting job. I will be happy when I'm back working, and you know, and I'm just in limbo until then. Because being an actor as well, like if you're in this constant state of desperation and exhaustion and sadness, and you're waiting for that one thing to build you up and be happy, it's just going to be, you know, you're putting more pressure on yourself, and you're never going to be, if you're not in a good place, you're going into an audition room doing a piece, you're not going to be doing it at your, most positive and most confident or whatever. So yeah, that actor said to me, like, you need to sort of not live for acting and just, go along with emotions and wait for it to sort of, not wait, as in like, oh, it'll work out. Work hard, but find something in the meantime, like you say, to sustain you. So it was after touring for a long time, I met a really, really good friend of mine he's now an actor, but he's also a producer. He was a producer at the BBC. And we teamed up. So, and we started our own showreel company, and we did that for about 3 years. So kind of, that was my first, aside from being an actor and being on a few film sets, and, I knew how it worked vaguely, but then I worked with my friend with this other company, and I guess in a way, like, he taught me a lot about, production and even communication skills. I've really sort of, I'd sort of be on the back foot when we first started and just sort of be a little more kind of, just do that and, look over. But then after some time, like anything, it takes time to build up experiences, and you find out what works and what does work, and having the confidence to, direct actors because they're all looking at you. So yeah, I mean, working with my friend with the other company, it was good training in a way, and I worked with him for 3 years. And then it got to the stage where we wanted to do different things, and I started up on my own. I've been doing this now for 2 years, this company for about 2 or 3 years. So it does take time, but like anything, you just sort of take time, and you build up experiences, and you do walk away from a situation, and you learn what worked and what didn't, and what people are looking for. But I've always had a very good sort of eye for, shots and editing. I've always been good at editing. And there's like there's a library of films you can draw on for inspiration, or, if you want a certain kind of sort of theme or certain kind of sort of tonal kind of thing for a scene. So, but yeah, in terms of actually forming a company, it took a while. It took about sort of 3 years out of drama school to sort of finally put things in motion. And I guess with my friend, he was the one that sort of, said, right, let's do it. And then when you're working with someone else, you have that pressure, and you're like, well, I have to do it now because someone's relying on me, and I'm relying on them. So in a way, that was, I think you really push,
You really struck a chord with a few people there. Luke, Jared from Actors Approach Craft Technique Toolboxes. Preach. I think all about when you were talking about how you can't wait for those acting jobs to make you happy. You've got to do something in those in-between times. And Thomas Pickles says, completely bob on. We define ourselves as actors our whole lives, which can be a brilliant thing, but can also be very detrimental to mental health, finances, and our relationships. So I think that's something that really rings clear. And, I think you gave us quite a clean version of events with the journey that you've had there. And yeah, you were very lucky to, I guess, be working with somebody initially with your showreel business who maybe had a little bit more experience on set and things. But I guess there was a time before that where you just had to suck it up by the bullet and be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to offer this. And I actually remember, because being an old friend of yours, you literally offering to do people's showreels for like dirt cheap, just like 30, 40 quid, just being like, look, I'm going to do this, and I'm inexperienced and stuff, but I love film. I'm going to go out there and just sticking your neck out and doing it, and then grinding away at it, and sort of getting better as you went on. You didn't wait for the time that it was perfect to start, because there's never a perfect time to start. I remember it quite clearly. Once you left drama school, you were in between jobs. I think we were working on building sites and stuff, and then you're like, nah, I'm gonna commit to this, and I'm gonna see where it goes. And I think a lot of people do wait for that perfect time to get something started, but you started it, and then not only that, you've committed to the journey of it, and you put in the hard work and had the patience. And I imagine it's not always been an easy ride. I don't imagine it's all been sort of straightforward plain sailing for you, but you now got in a place where it's been voted for top 7 showreel companies in the UK. So we have a question here.
Yeah.
So this is from Jared. When an actor is struggling to deliver, what they intend and hope for while filming their showreel. Do you have any go-to acting craft coaching techniques? Jared is an acting craft technique master, by the way. Luke, you've got to check him out.
Right. Okay.
And that you love to walk actors through to help get them closer to their vision. So obviously, you being an actor yourself, which is not necessarily something that all sort of showreel companies have at the helm, right? Somebody that is an actor and stuff. How do you put themselves in your shoes? I'm just going to take a chance before you answer that question as well, just to mention everybody that every second Wednesday, Jared and I have a bit of a meet here on Instagram Live where we do our Two Guys Talking Craft workshops. So we give a free workshop, hour long, every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. And our next one will be next Wednesday. So sorry, Luke. Your answer there. How do you help actors sort of achieve what they've intended for? If you see they're not quite getting there, is there anything go-to things that you do?
Well, I think it goes back to that thing of just sort of creating an environment where there is that dialogue between both of us. It isn't a case of me, with my legs crossed and a cigarette going, "Oh God, do it again." It's a, there's there's an open dialogue there, and I will be honest. If something's not reading, and if something's not coming across, or if moments aren't landing for particular points in the scene that need to hit, then it will take you into a different trajectory. I will say, and if it doesn't, if we're struggling to get there, I guess techniques. I know techniques like this work for me, but again, like from going to drama school and meeting other people and then working with other actors, you sort of pick up different traits. Not different traits, but you pick up different techniques. You think, oh, that's quite cool. Well, yeah, that didn't quite work for me, but that's like, so you sort of notice things in certain actors. But I know something that works for me. If something's not working at all, not working at all, if something's not hitting, we just sort of, we'd really work that moment, and we'd really do take after take, until they were happy. It's not really about, I mean, as I say, I would say like, that's not clear and we need to, I think you want this, you'd be happy if it would look more. So, I mean, a technique that works for me, I just do a take completely all over the place, or really just sort of, go over the top and ridiculous and see if there's something there you found. Maybe it's just a case like all actors get, where you just feel slightly sort of tense and a little self-conscious, and you become aware it's the emotional bit, or I have to shout in a minute, or so techniques like that could always help, or it could be a simple case of just cutting the camera and then the two actors go aside and then we sort of talk about it a little bit more and see if there's a little nugget of information we could go, that's probably actually what this character is actually saying, and this is probably the subtext, this is probably what what you could play underneath. So we'll really sort of analyze those things. But I wouldn't not say something if I was sitting there going, oh my God, this is not this isn't up to I would say if I didn't think it was good enough, or if a moment wasn't hitting. But I think from the get-go, that's something I really believe in. I think this isn't a film set, so to speak. This isn't a kind of sort of film or TV set where you've got the runners going, okay, 5 minutes, everyone, quiet, okay, we've got to hurry up, the light's running out. There's enough time to play around, and and it sounds like an old acting thing, but there's no right or wrong, and it is an environment where you can try out stuff and sort of meander your way through it. Plus, as well, Stanley Kubrick, or it's not for 1 second am I suggesting I'm up there with Stanley Kubrick, but he says a film comes together in the editing. That's when the soul of the film comes alive, and that's where pieces are all put together in the story. This isn't like theatre where it has to be, every moment has to be. So we could do a few takes, a few various versions of a moment in a scene, or a speech in the scene, or whatever. And then when it comes to editing, I may find like sort of tonally, or the energy sort of gearing towards a certain way. And if it works, you could try a take where it was completely not what we originally planned. Do you know what I mean? Like we can sort of fashion it into, and it'll take you in different directions. So I think the main thing I always say is like, it's really not a case of getting it right, getting it right in the sense of how you've rehearsed it and how you think it should be. We're just there to go through it and get it right. Not get it right, but try out different things, and then arrive at a place where we, you know, I've got
That's lovely.
in editing, and the actors explore different avenues, and you know, so. But I think
And I guess if they were working with yourself, they get a bit of freedom and autonomy to do that. But it's not necessarily going to be the case every single time that they book in to film a showreel with somebody, right? So I guess actors should feel empowered to be able to say, this doesn't feel quite right for me. Can we try something else? Can we try another thing? Because as you say, it's their time, right? It's not a film set, it's not a TV set, it's not this time is money sort of feel like they paid for that service. So they should feel empowered to ask to do it again, try things again as well. We have just enough time for a couple of questions from Thomas Pickles here. And we'll probably make them quite quick fire, Luke, because Instagram throws us out after 60 minutes. So, so first of all, Thomas Pickles is asking, top tips for screen acting. Any top tips? Yeah, any top tips for screen acting?
I mean, the big one everyone always says is don't you know, bring it back, or bring it sort of back, or what, you know, and don't think. I think that's true. Like, you're going to adapt. It's like you're not doing a performance on stage. You have to project right to the back of the auditorium. But so I guess you do need to internalize a little bit more and relax. But also don't feel like that's a constraint to not try stuff out. You know, it may not be the one, and it may, you know, purely for an acting kind of point of view. If an actor just goes, oh, I'm just going to try something, and they throw themselves around like, you know, Jim Carrey or something, you know, that's completely not going to work. But performance-wise, you might have unlocked something there that you can take from that energy and then just bring it back so it fits a nice medium close-up. So I think, even though the old saying of less is more on a film or with performance, bring it back, that is true. But at the same time, don't feel that's not a constraint for you to not explore and try something out. I also think, I mean, as well, like in terms of blocking and in terms of sort of technical things of the way, you know, rehearse and block the scenes. If I got a medium close up, you know, like most TV or film sets do, the director will let you know if you're on a close up or if you're on a medium close up or anything. So technically, you want to be reminded about you can't sort of move too much or. And stay on the moment, because sometimes, like I've just finished editing something and I sent it to an actor, and it was brilliant. And again, he did a few versions of this, and then I had one particular kind of close up that was kind of on a crooked angle to suggest something wasn't right about this guy, like, and he was sort of almost kind of manipulating this other character, and he seemed to be a lovely guy, but he wasn't. But I tilted the camera to sort of give off the kind of subliminal message or subliminal thing of like something's off center, something's not right. Like, so, but he was the same. He did take after take, and then all of a sudden he tried something completely different. And I said, just look in her eyes and just tell her or something. And then from this close up, and in his eyes was just like lasers on this. It really, really worked. And it was really menacing, and you could really see him sort of working her head and getting inside. And, so I think, I think that's the main thing. Don't be afraid to try stuff out, but also be aware of the technical constraints.
Yeah.
You know,
but don't be constrained by these constraints.
Yeah, don't be constrained. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And plus, me or the boom guy, whoever it is, whether it's, you know, they'll say, "Oh, you're so loud, like you're making it distorting the sound," or I'll be like, "You've just gone completely out of frame." So leave that to us, and you just do what you do.
Yeah.
And, you know,
yeah, and you guys will let them know, sort of thing. Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And then possibly, there's tons of good questions here. I guess I'll leave this one out, Thomas Pickles, pros and cons of actors having lots of accents in their showreel. Because I guess Luke said earlier on, not to put words in your mouth, Luke, but kind of keep it authentic, keep it as genuine to you as you possibly can. Possibly depending on what stage of your career you're in, you might want to be showing off. You can do different accents, but certainly for actors beginning, you kind of want to keep it authentic and to you, I guess. And then the last question we have time for, Luke, is do you see a lot of the same suggestions for scenes? Like, do you notice trends and stuff? Like, are a lot of people, in Thomas Pickles' words, are they trying to fleabag it up at the moment? Do you see any trends
Not.
for scenes that people want?
I think that time. I think I had an actor the other day. I wrote a scene for her, and she suggested something a bit Fleabaggy. So instantly, But when we write, when I write or anyone else writes it, we don't just do a direct copy, and we'll find what works for that actor and what they're. But in terms of energy, if an actor says something like that, it's very good as a point of reference to go, oh, I kind of get the. We're not going to do a Fleabag ripoff, but it's going to be that kind of energy, and it's going to be that sort of. But the most popular we always get is cop show dramas.
Mm.
Like kind
There's
of
a lot
sort
of them. There's a lot of them on TV, right? So you can see why.
And I suppose it's quite sort of, we have a lot of, Killing Eve is always sort of something a little Killing Eve. But I get that sort of stylistically. That's quite sort of interesting. You could play around with shots and make it a little more dramatic than, just a usual kind of sort of locked off camera look. You can play around and be a little more experimental. Killing Eve, yeah, probably more like police drama things. But that's the point I actually wanted to make. When actors come along, I believe like when it's first and foremost it's a showreel, and actors are going to come along because they just want something that shows them front and center doing their thing in a nice medium close up, so a casting director can go, wow, that's really good, I can see him in something like that. At the same time, I do feel as though like the look and the style of something shouldn't go to waste. It shouldn't overpower the actor in the sense that someone's going to watch you go, oh, wow, look at that effect they put in the background. You shouldn't distract from the actor. But it should marry what the actor's doing. It should sort of facilitate the actor's performance. So, I did a showreel the other day, and I put in an effect, like a kind of sort of, he gets his phone out of his pocket, and you see the text floats up, like in Sherlock, or you see the captions coming up, and you can see what's on the screen beside him. I played around with things like that, and that for the scene works in that moment. But if you go too far with those kinds of, oh, on this bit, can I have, if could a spaceship land, or that stuff's just detracting from your. You don't want to think too much about that, because we'll deliver stylistic choices, and we'll really push the genre that you're going with in the scene. So some actors get a bit caught up with, or could there be a bit where this happens, or can we have a bit where we have a huge that stuff will take care of itself with my with editing and my shooting. And I think it's important for the actor to just turn up and say, this is my character, I trust you to you get what I'm doing. And even on the day, I'll sort of do a quick summary of what we okay, we're doing a kind of sort of gritty crime drama. There's a chase happening, and then this happens. I'm going to keep it sort of quite tonally. I'm going to grade it quite sort of bleak looking, so it has that kind of sort of, I don't know, Shane Meadows-y kind of gritty film, British social realism look. Or so there's the sort of stylistic choices that'll for an actor, I think just turn up and think about that character and think about your performance, and I'll make it look good.
And you do all the stylistic stuff. That's really nice. It's really good advice, because it kind of keeps it simple and alleviates a lot of pressure, I guess, that an actor might feel that they've got to think of everything to do with their scene in their showreel, but not just keep it simple, do what you can do and do what you do best, right? Luke, this has been absolutely fantastic. Just before we round up, I'm going to put you on the spot here. It's a bit of a challenge, right? If we just imagine we didn't have that past hour, and you could just sum up in one sentence the one key piece of advice for an actor approaching a showreel, just don't think too much about it, just instinctually, what would you say? What's one piece of advice for an actor approaching a showreel?
Really, really understand who you are as an actor and what your casting is. And get advice. If you need to find that, get advice and find out that, oh, you're a bit kind of like that, really understand what it is you're coming and what you want to sell, and I'll make it look good. I'll make you a big star.
Going to make you a star. All that stuff. Lovely, Luke. Thank you very, very much, and thank you everybody for joining us today and your fantastic questions. Luke, where can people find you if they want to look you up after this? Where can they find you?
You can find me at www.rolefilmshowreels.com. And incidentally, I'm on Instagram. Well, you can see my Instagram on this, and Facebook. And yeah, and you've got my phone number and email address and all the prices of my packages. Plus, I've got a new package actually I've just introduced called the double feature. I've changed the name. I told you the other day I called it like split the cost or something, but I thought I missed a trick there. There's a pun, so I've called it the double feature. And it basically means 2 actors can come along and do a scene that suits both of them, that will favour both of them. So if they pick a scene where they're both quite dominant and they've got enough to show off, they can split the cost, and it's a lot cheaper for them. And I'll do it in such a way that both of them get an equal kind of amount in the scene to do, and they'll walk away with an edited version that shows off them, equally doing their thing.
Very good.
But yeah,
man's got a good business head and a good acting head. Fantastic. Thank you, Jared, for the kind words. Thank you very much. I just want to take the chance to say that Jared will be doing a fantastic workshop with the With Noreen show tomorrow, I think at 5 p.m. Do let me know, Jared, if I got the time wrong there, but please check that out. It is going to be fantastic. Jared and I will be back in 2 weeks' time from Actors Approach Craft Technique Toolkit. 1 week's time, even not 2 weeks' time, to do our next workshop as well. And Luke, thank you so much for everything you've shared today. Just an absolute treasure trove. So many nuggets of gold in there for people to dive into. If you didn't take notes or whatever today, we will be putting this on YouTube, the Unstoppable Acting Studio YouTube. And yeah, thank you very much, guys. Take care. And Luke, I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you very much. Right, see you later, people. Goodbye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.